Hello and welcome to Pappy Hour, episode 15.
Whoa.
Today we are going to be
15.
talking about,
Costa Rica.
yes we are, Costa Rica.
Yeah. So before we jump right into it, we're just enjoying this nice Friday. It's gloomy. It's been raining in San Diego.
Lots of rain.
And I just got back from the rainforest. But yeah, went on a great trip with my girlfriend and two of our friends. And we're going to talk about it because Costa Rica is a really cool place.
Jessica survived 14 days in the jungles of Costa Rica.
Well, we were all over Costa Rica,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a great trip. You've never been to Costa
I
Rica.
have not been on the list, but Jessica had to do it for me. She kind of takes my place in a lot of travel.
Yeah, it's weird that I go to a country that you haven't been to.
I know. And
So
soon
let me
you're
tell you about it.
and soon you're going to be off to Japan. So she's
I
going to go
know.
from Costa Rica to Japan. So we'll definitely have a Pappy Hour on Japan.
I know. I've been very fortunate that my job is a little bit slow right now, so I have the ability to do some traveling before it picks back up again.
Yeah.
And we got a nice little moving truck beeping out there. But yeah, so Costa Rica, we originally were supposed to go in January of 2022,
2 years ago.
2 years ago, but the day before we left, Vanessa and I came down with COVID.
Ooh, that hurt.
So
That
that
one
was a
hurt.
gut punch. The trip was canceled. We'd been planning it for months
Lost your
and
money.
lost a little bit of money, so
All right. Well, Costa Rica. Let's get into just a little bit of history. I mean,
Yeah.
it was Christopher Columbus was there on his final journey.
Oh,
He
really?
set he went to the shores of the Caribbean side on the east coast of Costa Rica in 1502. So it was right around
10
the
years
whole
after he landed on Plymouth.
on not on Plymouth. He landed 1492. His first place was Turks and Caicos Islands, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And then he not discovered, I hate using that word. He landed on many Caribbean islands.
Yeah.
But he came to Costa Rica 1502. Another Spanish sailor made it there 1522. But this is the first question I have. What does Costa Rica mean?
Pura Vida.
Well, no.
Oh.
That's their slogan. But Costa Rica.
So I just said that word like 400 times while I was there.
Is rich coast.
Hmm.
And they found that, and when Columbus got there, as well as Gonzalez, the explorer who got there in 1522, they both noticed that the indigenous people were wearing a large amount of gold jewelry. So what the Spanish gold to a Spaniard was like cocaine to a 1980s disco dancer in Miami. I mean, that was just, they lived for that. You could give them the best steak, you could give them the best horse, the best bottle of rum, but they were after the gold.
Don't you think everyone wanted gold, though?
Everybody did, but the Spanish were, they wanted gold.
Hungry.
And there was a lot of gold in Central America.
Mm-hmm.
So when they got to Costa Rica, they noticed the gold on people. So there goes the rich coast.
Mm-hmm.
And Costa Rica then absorbed into the Spanish Empire, sat as part of the southern border of the Spanish Empire, being Mexico City, basically being the center of it. And it was on the fringe, so it was kind of forgotten about.
Yeah, it's just north of Panama.
North of Panama.
South of Nicaragua.
And
then there's El Salvador and Guatemala. And then Mexico.
Honduras.
And Honduras.
British Honduras at the time, which is now Belize.
Belize, yeah.
Belize. But it was on the fringe, so it didn't get as much attention. The other difference was it wasn't as heavily populated.
Yeah.
It did not have the big population. It was so rugged.
They have dense rainforests. I mean, they're known for their variety in wildlife. So it wasn't super probably habitable other than the rural areas, like where there's, sprawling valleys and whatnot. But there's so much of it is dense rainforest that it makes sense. Like it's not a very nice, hospitable
the lack of people
landscape.
there made for the lack of big plantations and big settlements as there were on Cuba, Dominica, and into parts of Mexico.
Yeah.
So it kind of was the benefit of that. It didn't have that. It didn't get a sugar plantation and huge agro early. That was later, so it made for it as a little bit more of that. Your word,
Pura Vida.
Pura Vida.
It means pure life.
So what's population? We always got to talk about.
Oh, some guy on one of our tours was talking about the population. It's like 3 million, right?
5 million.
5 million.
5 million, and 350,000 live in the largest city of San Jose, the capital, but also just around San Jose is 2 million.
Yeah.
So just around San Jose and that outlying area is 2 million. So the rest of that whole country you travel around, there's only 3 million people.
Yeah.
It's the population of San Diego County and Orange County in that entire country.
Yeah.
So it's not very densely populated. 84, it is pretty much mostly white and Hispanic, 84%. 7% like a Caribbean mix, and only 2.5% indigenous.
Oh, wow.
It has a very low population of indigenous people. So it started that way, and that's what kind of formed the country so different from Nicaragua and Honduras and Mexico and those other countries.
Yeah. So back to me, my trip. I'm just kidding. Yeah, we were there for 14 days, which probably the longest trip I've been on. You know, we usually go someplace for like 10, 11, 12 days. 14 days felt like a long time.
Yeah,
But
especially traveling
yeah,
by car.
this was adventure. Like we didn't stay in any resorts. We didn't stay in any all-inclusives. We didn't do any of that stuff. We
One
stayed at
star, 2 stars?
5. No, no, the
2
places we stayed
stars.
were nice. But you know, we tried to be cost effective. We rented a car. We went to 5 different Airbnbs. So
Okay.
just to sequentially go through the trip, we flew to Liberia, LAX to Liberia. We
Nice
got a
direct flight.
killer deal. Yeah, direct flight. And Liberia is in the northwest part of the country. It's the second largest city, but it's not very big. I think it has, you know.
No, it's down there. It's like the 6th or 7th largest city.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty small. Didn't even show up on the top 5. So
Well,
I
it's
think
the second airport. Like if you're not
second
flying
big
into San
airport.
Jose, you can fly into Liberia. So we flew into Liberia, got a rental car, headed out to our first Airbnb. And our first Airbnb was like crazy because it was not sealed or anything. Like
It was
the
camping.
slat. Yeah, no, it was like a treehouse. Like the slats, just as you know, I'm an appraiser, so like I'm always inspecting, you know, the little corners of
Yeah.
buildings and whatnot. There was no insulation, no
Well, it doesn't need
sealant.
insulation for that because it's never
Cold.
Yeah, you remember there. Costa Rica has 2 seasons: the dry season and the wet season.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, there were leaks and whatnot because of all the rain.
Yeah.
But it was just slats of wood nailed together. And you know, it's no big deal with the weather. It's
And
no
how
big
much
deal
was
with
it a
the
night?
rain. Oh,
What's
this
that place cost you a night
one,
for a
I think we paid like
shack
$60 a night,
for all
70 bucks.
4 of you?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
some good.
Maybe 80.
80.
Kind of in that
All right,
that
that's
ballpark.
$20 a person for lodging.
Yeah, there's 4 of us, so you know, everything is divided by 4. But
Yeah, that's inexpensive lodging.
But you know, like the building isn't a big deal until it comes to the bugs.
Yeah.
The bugs were insane.
But
And
think of that deal, $20, $80 a night. We were in Italy, your mother and I were in Italy in the fall, and for $300 you got a crappy place. So for
Yeah.
$80, the value right now is there in Costa Rica. You get some good values.
Yeah, if you don't mind bugs, like you're good to go. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't mind bugs, you know.
What kind of bugs are we talking here? Little
Well,
bugs, big bugs,
we're talking scorpions.
bugs with 4 legs?
We're talking quarter-sized flies. We're talking hornets.
Oof.
We're talking, you know, ants that are like 10 times the size of you know, ants we see around here. Like just everything there is to the next level. Their bees are scary. Their
Super
flies
ant.
are scary. Their you know,
Yeah.
ants are even scary. Like, and we happened upon a scorpion.
Ooh,
And
I like scorpions.
dude, the scorpion was intense. Like I can kill small bugs, but it was just in a really weird place. It was in the shower. So me and Vanessa were just sitting there, and all of a sudden we hear our friend go,
Scorpion
"Scorpion!"
alert.
So we run in there, and it was in the shower,
Mm,
and it's like it was up high because I'm like, I'm trying to kill this thing because I'm not sleeping tonight if this thing's on the roof.
yeah.
And this was a couple inch long scorpion. It wasn't a small one.
Okay.
And I tried to kill it. I missed
Oh,
because it was really high up. So I had to
so where'd it
jump.
go? Where'd it go?
It went into the walls. It
Oh
went
my
into,
gosh.
scurried into, and we were like right next to the bathroom too. So I was like, oh, its nest is like up in the corner of our
Yeah, it was
room.
waiting for you.
No. So that
What happens if you get bit by a scorpion?
apparently no death. It just really, really hurts.
Okay, so it's
So there was a lot
a
of
painful
Googling.
bite.
There was a lot of Google searches that went something like, what happens if you get bit by a? Will you die if you get bit by a?
You had that pre-plugged into your phone. What happens if I get bit by, and then you just punched in
Yeah.
spider,
A flying ant,
scorpion,
you know?
snake, alligator?
Yeah, no.
Did you see
So
any alligators?
no, we didn't see any snakes
No snakes
or
even.
any gators or crocs or anything like that.
Okay.
But,
I think there's just crocodiles there.
yeah.
Yeah.
But, so our first day, we landed on a Sunday. Our first day, Monday morning, was river rafting.
Oh, wow.
So we got up, we went river rafting, you get the helmet on. We were all 4 in one little boat.
Okay,
And it
4
was
in one
funny,
raft.
we were with like this giant group of like a company retreat.
Okay.
So it was like all these corporate bros.
Where were they from?
I think all over. I think
Okay.
this giant company.
American, though.
Yeah, I mean, a
Okay.
bunch of American 20-something-year-old dudes, corporate bros, like, they were screaming and jumping and having a good time, and it was just very high energy. And
Good.
our river raft guide was awesome. Luis, he was so cool. He pointed out as we were, we'd go down a rapid and then we'd kind of be chill for a while. He'd point out all of the, massive hanging termite nests
Termite nests.
or little
Did you
monkeys.
see any monkeys?
Yep, we saw. I don't think we saw monkeys that time, but we saw like deer and random critters, and he would just point things out to us that
What would you have done if he said, "Don't fall overboard because there's crocodiles in this river"?
yeah, just been like, all right, Luis, my life is in your hands, buddy.
I love it. Did you fall overboard?
Well, yeah, we would kind of come up to like a chill spot, and then he'd be like, take a swim, and then I just eject myself off like diving style.
And how was the water?
Oh, so warm.
It was warm.
So nice. Not warm, but so refreshing because
Yeah.
it was hot, sun beating down on you, humid Costa Rica. Like
Yeah.
it was 80, 90, 100 degrees depending on where we were going.
Wow.
It
So
never
warm.
dipped below like 85 degrees, I'd say.
And was the water clear?
Yeah.
That was clear
Yeah, it was like a
water.
rushing, clear river.
That's
It was
cool.
the volcanic runoff from
Mm.
because there's a lot of volcanoes in Costa Rica.
Ooh, how many?
I don't know, but there's a lot.
16.
Oh.
Yeah. 16. I have a little stat on volcanoes, but just getting to that, there are,
Hmm. One of the
is
big
it
ones I know is
14 volcanoes. Okay.
Arenal.
So 14 volcanoes, and 6 of them have been active in the last 75 years.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. So there's 6 right now. There's 6 active volcanoes.
Yeah.
So at any time, Costa Rica could really, start going off.
Yeah.
What
Well,
was the highest point? What was the highest volcano?
Arenal.
Yeah, at like 11,000 feet.
Yeah, it's up there.
And
Well, that's why they have a lot of hot springs there.
so
And
the river rafting was just what a neat experience to be on a 4-person raft and going down the river, seeing monkeys.
yeah, we were going down the Tenorio River, and I
Tenorio.
can't move on without just quickly mentioning that. We were interrupted mid-podcast. It's all right. We have our first ever live in-studio audience.
We have an audience.
We have my grandmother, your mom, and my aunt here watching us. So if you hear maybe some loud chewing or perhaps
Giggles.
some giggling or moving around,
But it's
that
kind of
would
cool.
be our live audience.
We've never taped in front of a live audience before, so this is it. Can we have like a canned laughter, like where we say something like ha 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 ha? Let's hear. There we go. Look at that. That's awesome. That's the producer, our fine producer, Tristan Foster. That is his mother, who also happens to be my sister. So
Mhm.
my sister and my mother are overlooking the podcast,
I know,
Jessica.
no pressure.
I feel like I'm back in like 6th grade
Yeah.
because, my mother and sister both would like hound me. Did I do my homework? Did I do it?
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Well,
this is really fun. All right. We're getting back into Costa Rica. Jessica, 14 days in Costa Rica. We talked about the bugs. We'll talk more about the bugs.
no, there's a lot more to be told about the bugs.
Since we do have we parlayed into a little sideshow. Costa Rica is also a very interesting demographic that I have as far as most Central American countries are predominantly Catholic. Costa Rica is only 50% Catholic. It has a wide variety of other religions. So it really shows that it's like this melting place and very different than El Salvador, Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize.
It's right on the bridge between, the South American culture, Central American, kind of, Mexico being there. So,
Yeah,
it's a very unique place,
it sure
but
is.
it's mostly known for its wildlife and its natural features. So, we get there, we check into our Airbnb, get chomped a little bit by some bugs, and then the literal first day we were there, we went river rafting, which was awesome.
Okay,
Down
so
the Tenorio River.
you survive that.
Survived that, minimal sunburn, no bug bites. Um, the water was beautiful, like, just
Did you
seeing.
go off any big drop-offs?
Yes, we went off a
That's
12-foot
a
drop-off.
12-foot drop-off. Okay, did you stay in the boat or did you get ejected?
Yeah, we actually stayed in the boat pretty well. There was one
That's like
one
riding the bull right there, huh?
No, it was sketch. Like,
Yeah.
I was, like, fearful. We would sit on the edge, and then he'd be like, "In the boat!" And then we'd have to sit down in the boat, and, you're crunched up into a little ball.
Oh, so you get off the edge of the boat and you sit, you kind of hunker all down in there.
That would be our wonderful live audience making noise.
Hmm. Well, we tried to prep it and we knew, this is so perfect because we tried to prep it, but we knew it probably wouldn't work.
No, yeah.
But
That's alright. Makes it
yeah,
fun.
live studio audience, live studio audience.
Yeah, so the Tenorio River,
But you dumped down in there in 12-foot drop and you did not fall out of the boat.
yeah, one of them though, Aaron was kind of in the front, our friend, and it could not have been more perfect. The boat lurched one way, and she just absolutely sailed into the water.
That's great.
Yeah, it was funny.
All right.
But that was day 1.
One of my favorite parts about river rafting was when you would actually, on some of the milder rapids, jump out of the boat and go through.
No, I
Yeah,
want no
didn't do
part of
that?
that.
Okay, that was
I
so
want no
much
part of
fun.
that. You bang your knees and ankles and stuff on the rocks. Catch me in the boat. I
Yeah.
will not be letting go.
So one time I did that and we had so much fun and you just kind of lay out feet first and you take a few lumps, but it's a real big rush. We would hike back up the river and do it a couple times. And
Yeah.
yeah, I was
I
on the
have no
American
river
River.
rafting experience. I think I even told you a couple of podcast episodes before, like, I was really nervous for the river rafting. Like, I had no idea what that was going to entail.
Yeah.
And I've been struggling with my knee.
Yeah.
Luckily, no injuries, and it was really, really fun. So that was our first day. Then, this is a crazy day. We get a ride to the hot springs because that was kind of like included in our package. Hot springs, beautiful, runoff from the volcano.
Okay, wait, this is all part of the river rafting?
Yeah, this is all one day's
Okay.
activity.
All right.
And we go to the hot springs, we're chilling, and then we're on our way back, and we're being driven by our tour guide. And
Wait,
he
he's driving your
sends
car or his car?
No, he's driving his car. Our car
Okay.
was parked at the main area.
Gotcha.
And he shows us a picture and he's like, "Is this your car?" We were like, "Yeah." He's like, "The tire's flat."
Oh,
This is day 1. So we're like, "Awesome, sweet." Poor rental car.
yeah.
And so the tire's flat. And we get back, and luckily the Costa Rican people are so hospitable
Yep.
and so nice and just very giving. And
So that's crazy. A flat tire after you get off this river, you survive.
you are really good at just jumping right back into it. We had to kick our studio on its out. They did not last
Okay.
more than 5 minutes on the pod before they were
Mm.
waving their hands, crinkling wrappers. Mima's
Mim-
phone went off.
Mima's phone went off. Then Mima was trying to open up a brownie and was opening the package like she was in the back of 5th grade science class, sneaking a brownie, opening up. My sister's waving, telling her not to. Tristan, the producer, is losing his
No focus is to
marbles.
be had for the people speaking about the story. So we had to eject our studio audience. That was very short-lived.
Yeah.
So we're back. We're back
All
talking
right.
about Costa Rica. We barely even got into the trip. This is still day one,
This is day
where
one.
we river raft, and then we go off to the hot springs. We're on our way back, and our guide is like, "Is this your car? The tire's flat." So we get back to the parking lot. Of course, our poor rental car we've had for one day in our care has a flat tire already.
No big deal.
But our guide, Roy, was incredibly kind, went above and beyond. Not only did he change out our tire, put the spare on, he called his boss of Tenorio River Rafting Company, shout out to them, and he came, drove it 5 minutes down the road, got our regular tire patched, and, brought it back,
Use that as the new
and
spare.
that was our new spare as we continued driving around the country, but it cost $7 instead of, they were like, "Let
$7.
me," they said, "Let us go do this for you. They're gonna way up charge you if you go."
Yeah,
So it was literally so quick,
it's good.
and, the hospitality of the Costa Rican people already on day one, I was like,
Yeah.
"These people are awesome."
Did you ever change that back into the rental
Mhm.
car company? Oh, you did?
Yeah.
And you did it? That yourself?
I didn't do it. Another of our, Costa Rican associates did it for us.
Okay.
He was a mechanic.
And went and changed it back. So when you turned in the car,
Yeah.
it didn't have a spare on it.
No.
Yeah.
And when the spare was all back, we returned it just how we got it. We didn't do anything wrong.
Good.
It's very common in Costa Rica to have flat tires
To get
because a lot
flats.
of their roads are off-roading. And what actually happened to our tire was we just got a screw in it, like just a full, like 2-inch screw
Yeah.
right in it, popped. But got that all taken care of, fixed it up. So that was day one. So we're like, wow,
That's great.
welcome to Costa Rica.
Good.
And we stayed in
How are the hot springs?
amazing.
'Kay.
Yeah, you don't dip your head under just in case. You don't do that even at any hot spring ever.
No.
But very relaxing, and we saw some massive iguanas at the hot spring.
Iguanas.
Yeah, like 3-foot long iguanas.
They eat those things down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only if necessary, they
Okay.
say.
Because they're not
So
very good.
no, I think they taste like chicken, but they just,
Everything tastes
try
like
not to
chicken.
eat their local wildlife if they can help it.
What do chickens taste like? Iguanas.
Yeah. So that was day one.
That'd be
Then
fun to say, you know what? Can I get a couple of iguana tacos?
no. No, I'm good. I'm
All
good
right.
on that.
You didn't eat an iguana on the trip?
No, God,
That
no.
you knew of.
That I know of. Yeah. Day two. What did we do day
All right, day 2.
2?
We're day 2 in Costa Rica.
Day 2, I think we got up and left our first Airbnb. We were only there two nights. And we drove from Agua Caliente, which is like kind of a rural area.
Agua Caliente. Interesting name, meaning
Hot water.
hot water.
Yeah. And we got up and drove south all the way down to Monteverde, Cloud Forest.
Monteverde.
The little town of Santa Elena, which was a little bit more touristy, but still was like normal Costa Rican life, like not too crazy touristy.
Okay.
So we drove down, checked into our second Airbnb, which was called Casa Matmat, after the Matmat bird
Mop mop bird.
that we would see every morning chirping around our Airbnb.
By the way, mop mop birds taste like chicken.
No, no one eats Matmat birds. And that was the day that we did a coffee, sugar, and chocolate tour
Let's
of a
see.
farm.
Coffee, sugar, and chocolate. 3 out of the 4 major food groups.
Fourth being,
Coors Light.
yeah, I was gonna say. Which was really cool, like really awesome to see kind of, the customs and the traditions, and that the chocolate bean actually isn't like native to the
Oh, it's not.
to the land there. No, it's
They brought in
from
cocoa.
like one small place in the world, I forget where. But
Africa.
everywhere it's grown, everywhere it's grown, it was brought there.
Wow.
But Costa Rica is a very fertile place for all the different types of plants and trees and
Yeah, let's talk about coffee because I've got some statistics about coffee.
yeah. The coffee at the tour wasn't the best. Our 2 friends that we went with are coffee fanatics. Like
Okay.
they literally met working at Pete's Coffee.
All right.
And so they know their stuff. I'm not a huge coffee drinker. So I was like, yeah, it's great. They were like, nah, this isn't their best, I don't think.
Okay.
So it was Don Juan tours. But the demonstration was cool. Just the coffee wasn't the best.
How was the chocolate?
Chocolate was really good.
All right.
Yeah,
Good
chocolate
dark
was good.
chocolate.
Yeah, like truly dark, like
Yeah.
almost like bitter dark.
They don't do any milk chocolate there.
No.
Yeah.
Well, they have a lot of cows. Like they have a big dairy industry there. So
Really?
yeah, we stayed right next to a dairy
Okay.
and had some of their ice cream. It was good.
Good. So coffee first grown in Costa Rica, 1808.
Yeah, it's new
Co
there too.
Yeah, coffee bean. Well, I mean, 1808. We're talking 215
Yeah.
years it's been growing there
And most of it's grown, in the
in the
southern,
highlands.
like, in kind of the eastern region, like, not where we were.
Eastern. Okay. All right. So it introduced in 1808. By 1820s, it was their biggest export.
Yeah.
So it boomed. So Costa Rican coffee became a big name in the 19th century.
Yeah.
And then what took over from there is and that's why the biggest plantations weren't sugar plantations like most of the Caribbean. It was coffee plantations.
Mhm.
And then they started planting bananas, and bananas had already been there, but they started really having agriculture, large scale agriculture with bananas.
Yeah.
So coffee and bananas were like Costa Rica's big cash crops.
Yeah.
Like at
So
one
that
time
was
they said it was
great.
half their economy.
Yeah, that was really cool. Anything else on coffee?
Um,
Hmm?
well, it in 17, yeah, no, 1818, it just started, but it was on smaller scales. There weren't the large um,
Operations and
operations
farms.
that you saw in a lot of other countries. So there was a
Yeah.
lot of small little places, but it made them money, and it paid for the development of the country.
Yeah. So, that was a cool tour. And then the next day, what did we do? Oh, we went ziplining.
Zip lines.
And ziplining, so we were in Monteverde Cloud Forest, but where we were staying, it was sunny and nice. And then we decided, we have to get to our ziplining place. So we drive 10 minutes up the road,
Right?
literally up. We're
Up the
gaining
mountain.
elevation. And before we know it, we get up there and it's cloudy and rainy and
Okay.
super windy, like literally 10 minutes from where we were.
Wow.
So we didn't bring our rain. We brought our raincoats just in case for this exact moment, but we left them back at the Airbnb.
Hmm.
So all of us were zip lining through the sky at like crazy wind speeds, like howling wind up there, raining the whole time. I was in a tank top, just toughing it out.
A little cold?
Yeah. Yeah. Really cold waiting in between the zip lines. But then as soon as you take off on the zip line and your adrenaline just goes up and you're
Yeah.
thousands of feet in the air, hundreds of feet in the air. I mean, these were long zip lines. We did Monteverde Cloud for. I mean, there's a bunch of places to zip line.
Yeah.
I think we went to some place called Treetopia Park. It was insane.
Yeah.
Like, it was so cool. You would take off from the zip line and you can't see the end. The cloud is right there, and you would watch people go and they just disappear into the cloud.
No way.
And then when you watch them come in, all of a sudden you're like looking at the cloud, you're hearing, it gets louder and louder, and then all of a sudden they emerge from the cloud and they smash into the thing.
Wow.
It was really awesome.
And you're in a harness, you're sitting, and you hold on up top?
Yeah, you hold on up top. We chose this place because you don't have to use your hand to brake. Those places where you like hold the wire to use your hand, like that sketches me out.
You hold the wire. You grab the wire
On the back with a big glove, you have
with
a
a
glove
glove,
on, and you're supposed to like kind of help yourself brake.
and you slow down.
Yeah. So this, we didn't have, it was hands free, which I
Wow.
liked because I'm like, last thing I want to do is get your hand mangled up there.
Yeah, lose a finger.
Yeah. So that was, probably tied for my favorite excursion we did.
Yeah.
Um,
You learned a lesson though. You never in the tropics, you always bring your gear.
yeah.
You always bring your gear because you never know.
Yeah. It was chilly, but it was an amazing experience. Probably tied for my favorite with river rafting.
And from the start to finish, how long was it?
Probably 2 hours.
2 hours. That's pretty intense.
Yeah. So we'd get up and we tried to, within the first couple of days, you're going out for dinner, going out for lunch, we realized, oh, this is not sustainable. We need to pick and choose our meal out and
Yeah.
maybe do some more cooking in. So we would always make our breakfast at home. Eggs were like so cheap.
How much for a dozen eggs?
I think it was like $2 or $3.
Okay, well, $3 isn't that cheap. So $2 for a dozen eggs is cheap. You can
Yeah.
get a dozen eggs right now at Costco for $3.50.
Okay. So maybe like $2,
All right.
like cheap.
So
So we ate a lot of eggs. We would cook breakfast. We'd make good coffee. Our friends Aaron and Alec were
what would you
constantly
eat with the eggs?
toast.
Just a loaf of bread. How much was a loaf of bread?
I don't know. I don't know the prices. I'm thinking colones and I don't know, but things were cheap. Like we
Okay.
would shop at grocery stores. We'd get a loaf of bread. We would get guayava jam, which was so good.
Guayava.
Guayava, yeah, it was really good.
It's like a guava,
Yeah, I don't.
but Something else.
Yeah, it's just a fruity jam.
Okay.
And then we'd get some eggs and coffee every morning. So we'd always wake up and we'd do our little journaling and we just kind of hang out. And Casa Matma was really cool because we had this giant glass window,
Mhm.
front row seat to the jungle.
Mm.
So that was the Airbnb where I'm laying in bed and all of a sudden I hear footsteps on the roof and I'm like,
A pitter-patter.
yeah, I'm like, what is that? And then all of a sudden I hear Vanessa from downstairs go, "Please, Jess, wake up!" And I just make it down
Wait,
in
was that
time.
Monkey Freak, 72?
Yeah, Vanessa's email address
She was, like, in
the
7th
early
grade.
days of Gmail where you would make your email address, whatever. Mine was like Peanut14 or something funny. Hers was Monkey Freak. And
But it had a
so,
number, Monkey Freak 72.
yeah, and so she was,
I always questioned there were 71 Monkey Freaks ahead of you?
yes, she was stoked on the monkeys, but I made it down just in time to see them swinging off of our roof, like a
That's
whole family of them, jumping into the trees, howling,
yeah, they were the howler
going,
monkeys.
yeah. And we saw some agoutis and some raccoon-looking things and some anteater-looking things and all these different types of birds and monkeys,
A
and
lot of animals.
it was like we were at our own zoo,
Yeah,
but it was just the wild, and we were
the cool
staring
way.
out our big window every morning, so we'd have, like, a nature watching session in the morning, and then we'd go off and do our activity, so,
Yeah.
it was zip lining, and then the next day was canyoning,
Canyoning.
which
Oh, the
we
canyoning.
really loaded ourselves up on adventures the first week. And then the second week was more like beach chill vibes.
Yeah.
But canyoning, like my sister and I had done canyoning when we were in France. And
Mhm.
that was like you slide down this natural waterfall, you jump into the pool, you rappel off something, and then it was all different stuff, but you're slowly hopping down the river.
Yeah.
Um, this in Costa Rica was strictly rappelling. So
Repelling.
with 6 waterfalls, you're going down this riverbed. First one was probably 10 feet, next one was probably 15 feet, then 20 feet, then maybe like
Did
30
they already
feet.
have the ropes set up, tied to trees where they were already down, or did as
Mhm.
you approach this, they set it up?
Well, they would clip you in, but they already had all the infrastructure in
Okay. They
for
already had the
their
ropes set up and you just
yeah.
had to clip in.
The 4th one we did was a 130-foot waterfall,
Wow.
rappelling.
13 stories.
13 stories.
That's
And
a long
so
way
I'm
down.
trying to get the hang of it, but, harness is tight and there's bugs we got pretty chomped that day by mosquitoes in the riverbed. The bugs
Yeah.
are getting you. You're waiting for the next person to go. You only go one at a time. So we
Yeah.
were kind of in the back of the group,
And how many were in the group?
probably 10 of us.
Oh my god, so you were waiting for 9 other people to get down that before it was your turn
Yep. And
of
I went
the
last a couple times. So it just like the timing of it all wasn't ideal, but then when you were up, like it was cool, but you really had to pay attention
Oh,
because
yeah?
it was slippery. You're
Yeah.
rappelling down. You got 1 foot on the left, 1 foot on the right. You either want to be on the left of the water or split the waterfall
Yeah.
or be on the right. And they would be yelling at you, left, left, stop,
Mhm.
stop, go, go, get out of the water. Like just constant yelling at you. And, it was hard to focus. And
Yeah.
I kept feeling myself slip, the 30-second tutorial they give you on how to rappel.
Any of those jumps, could you jump off the 20-foot waterfall and jump into the pool, or
No,
was
it was shallow.
it was shallow? The pools were shallow, there weren't any deep pools?
Yeah, the deepest I'd probably say was like standing up to my chest, maybe.
Oh, wow. So no jumping.
Yeah, no jumping.
Okay.
But so we get to the 120-footer, 130-footer. I'm the last one to go. So
Wow.
everyone's already gone. It's my turn. I start rappelling. I'm probably halfway down. It feels like I've been up there for a year. I'm really trying not to slip, but I'm also trying to soak in the scenery. I'm trying to like look around and enjoy myself. I'm up here hanging, but like it's sketch. Like
Yeah.
it's sketch, and I
That's
slip.
unforgiving.
I slip, and I drop probably 4 or 5 feet straight onto my ass. There's a landing about halfway up, and I hit that thing so hard with my butt, like I just land straight on my tailbone, and I'm sitting there and the water is absolutely destroying me right in my face, all over my chest, and I'm just trying to get my bearings and I'm like, wow, like looking around and I kinda lean to the left and I'm out of the water and I look up and I don't see anyone. I look down and I don't see anyone.
You're alone.
I'm like, holy shit, I'm all by myself out
Oh,
here.
that's great.
And so I literally like whispered, I like said to myself out loud, get your shit together. And I slowly got up and, like, I don't rappel, I don't know how to work these ropes. So I'm like trying to get my ropes all entangled and I'm like twisted to the side. And okay, I got myself and now I feed the rope. But I was halfway down. It
Yeah.
was crazy. I was like, I am not qualified to be doing this.
Yeah.
What am I doing? Like, thank God I didn't land on something sharp. It
Yeah.
was just a dull pain and I had some scrapes. We all had some scrapes and bruises after the
Yeah, that's a
canyoning.
big
That was a little out of our league. Probably wouldn't do that again, but it was a good story to tell, I guess.
good. Yeah, well, you did the Costa Rica's known for all of its adventures,
Yep.
and you did them. You did the big three: canyoning, zip lining, and river rafting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, man, that was a crazy day. We all got home, like, nursed our injuries. We're like, oh man, bruises are forming, scrapes are forming. We're like, man, we are beat up. And someone else in our group too was like hurt her, like had like rolled her ankle or something. And
Okay.
like there was a gnarly hike we had to do to get out of there. Like, you finish this 30-minute hike straight up the hill.
Oh, you started at the top,
Yeah.
canyon down all
All the way
this,
down.
and then had to hike back up.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So just with all our gear on, it was an adventure. It was really cool.
That's probably where you got bit too, because you were going through the
Yeah.
jungle.
That's where we got a lot of our bites. Then finished that day. And then we saw our second scorpion that day.
Okay.
In the offices of that company. Like, you get there, right in the walking path,
Just right there.
right up to the desk. Oh, watch out, that's a scorpion. And the guy comes over. Oh, yeah, he starts shining the light on it. Apparently, in Costa Rica, scorpions like change color if you shine the light on them, which was cool. And I was like, "You're gonna let that thing live? Okay, yeah. We'll
Yeah.
we'll be over here."
They don't kill anything.
No, which they're not afraid of the bug. To them, it's just completely normal.
Just a bug.
To us, it's like, oh my god, I don't think I've ever seen a scorpion in the flesh,
Yeah.
like out in the wild.
You
And
can see them here. They're out in the desert, and you
yeah,
could you could dig one up, but we don't see them here in San Diego, so it's
yeah.
not something you have to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like I'm not bug phobic, but it was a lot of bugs,
Yeah.
and you know,
Yeah.
not my favorite thing. I try to be strong and brave,
All right, so you got
but
through canyoning, and then you moved on. Didn't you go to some beaches?
yeah. So we were supposed to go on to Playa Jocko,
Yeah, Chaco.
but luckily, someone in our group, Mr. Alec, the only guy out of us girls, 3 girls, 1 guy. Alec decided to do some research and look at the reviews of the next place we were going, which
That's
was
good.
supposed to be a hostel. Thank God he did, because um
Wait, was this the
just
hostel that are the tubes that you were
yeah,
to
it
sleep
was
in?
like we were supposed to stay in a cement cylinder,
Yeah.
which I thought was going to be cool. It's cheap, but hey, we're out in Costa Rica, we're adventurous, we're young, like we
Yeah.
can handle it. He decides to do some research and look at the reviews. There had been a few reviews left just within the week that we
Okay.
were there, just a few days before. One of the reviews was like, oh man, someone could get these doors open with a stiff hand, like they're very flimsy, like not very safe. One was like, there's been a couple murders. I've heard a bunch of gunshots in the past few nights. And so we decided as a group, all right, we're not going to Playa
Nope.
Jocko.
Taking a rain check on that one.
Yeah, for $40 a night, we were only going to stay there 2 nights. We thought, that's all right.
Yeah.
We'll go somewhere else. So we ended up going to Tamarindo, which is a
Okay.
very popular American tourist destination for Costa
Tamarindo.
Rica. Yeah, it's a northwestern beach town.
Okay.
And we found a great little Airbnb. It was kind of like a communal pool type of deal. We got our laundry done there, which was very
Nice.
helpful. And
Wait, did you send out for your laundry?
yeah, like the guy like kind of in our Airbnb area would do laundry. It was like a couple bucks per pound or whatever it
And
was.
so how much did it cost you to do a load of laundry?
I think it was like $14.
Oh, that's a good deal.
Yeah, we had a lot of laundry too, because we
Yeah.
were had all our stuff that was wet and everything.
Yep.
So Tamarindo is great. The
Yeah.
beaches were good, and the highlight of our time in Tamarindo was we did a yoga class,
Nice.
which Costa Rica is known for their yoga.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of the yoga capitals of the world. A lot of like American yoga retreats
Mhm.
are held in Costa Rica,
Okay.
and so yoga class was great.
All right.
We had the most yoga teacher of all time. She was amazing. She had, like, the constellations tattooed on her body.
Oh, that's full tilt right
She
there.
was
It's going
yeah.
all in as yoga.
No, and she gave the best yoga class too. Me and, Vanessa are really into yoga, and, I told her before, I'm like, "We just came from canyoning, we're a little beat up, so just, like, more of a slow flow would be appreciated," and it was a great class. So that was the highlight of Tamarindo.
Good. And was this close to the beach or still inland?
Right on the beach.
Okay. So right on the beach.
Yeah.
How was the beach in Tamarindo?
Beautiful.
Did they have a little
Beautiful.
beach shack bar where you could go down and
It
have a cold beer and watch the ocean?
They had a lot of frontage on the beach, so they kinda had their, like, main area. We stayed south of the main area, and we were kind of out of the hustle and bustle a little bit, but, like, you wade out 100 yards and you're, like, up to your waist, you
Oh, it
know?
was
So
real
just
shallow.
yeah, real shallow,
No
no
shelf.
no rocks,
Yeah.
perfectly soft sand, um, so hot, like, I had to stay in the shade because I felt myself getting burnt.
Yeah.
So,
Good. And no waves because Costa Rica is kind of known for surfing. There were no waves where you're at.
there were some small waves, but they were, like, fun waves, you
Okay.
know? They weren't too much, but, yeah, Tamarindo probably had the best waves. You just kinda just like a little small wave pool, you just hang out.
Okay.
Um, and as we were coming in from the beach that day, we saw a whole family, like, huge family of monkeys
Oh, really?
traveling along the trees, as we were walking out to our car, and, like,
Um,
baby monkeys.
taking a hitch on the mama's back?
Yes,
Yeah.
grabbing onto the mom's back,
Yeah.
and they set up little, like, trapezes for them to get places,
Okay.
and, they were swinging along them, and the little baby was hanging on to the mom. It was like Nat Geo, just, like, up close. Like, it was
Nice.
so cool. They were tiny, tiny, tiny little monkey
And they weren't
babies.
the howlers. They were littler monkeys?
No, they were the howlers.
Oh, more
Yeah,
howler.
there's howler, white-faced monkeys, and then some other ones, but so that was really cool. Then probably one of our toughest drives of the trip was from Tamarindo down to Playa Corzalito,
Okay.
which Corzalito is a little town just kind of in the southern region of the northwestern quadrant,
Okay.
if one would say. And man, those were some dirt roads.
Yeah.
Like,
All dirt.
yeah, pretty much. Like after you
Okay. How
get
many
out to the main
miles are we
road,
talking now?
oh God, I don't know, probably 100 plus something kilometers,
Okay. So about 60 miles on a dirt road. And how long did it take you?
multiple hours.
2, 3 hours.
Yeah, like 10 miles an hour,
Okay.
you know, like,
And is there people passing you? Are there buses? Are there
oh
other
yeah,
cars?
giant buses coming down these dirt roads.
Just dirt road.
Mhm.
Holy crap. And was it raining?
No, we didn't. The only time it rained was when we were doing our zip line up in the clouds.
So can
So,
you imagine if it was pouring down rain,
yeah,
how what happens when two buses come on this dirt road?
yeah. Well, I mean, people get stuck. That's why you're supposed to go in the dry season because in the wet season, those roads turn into rivers. Like it
Wow.
rains like crazy there. And so, we were just praying for our poor little rental car the whole time that we
Yeah.
wouldn't have to get out and change this tire ourselves. But no, it was gnarly. Like Indiana Jones shaking
Mhm.
for 3 hours, just constantly moving. So that was adventurous. Like
Yeah.
it was crazy, but it was really fun.
And during that drive, was there any place to stop along the road?
Yeah, yeah, there were little towns that we'd pass through
Okay.
and there's a lot of small development out in the area. Um, and then we came into Playa Corzalito. So this was Sunday
Okay.
and
Weekend of the trip.
probably something that other people know, but something that didn't dawn on us was a lot of things are closed on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
So as we
Sunday.
were traveling, we ran out of water. And we didn't
Okay.
wanna go to our Airbnb that night with no water, so we had kind of traveled around. We got into town, their little store was closed, we went over to the next town, their store was closed, kept going, little
Yep.
towns. Couldn't find literally anywhere to get water. So we finally stumbled upon this little restaurant that was back in our town, and we noticed they had 4 water bottles in the cooler behind the counter. I said, "I'll take those, please."
Take all 4.
We'll take those.
Clean them out of water.
Yeah, but that
And
was
then
probably
you know how they
our
got more water? They took an empty bottle in the back and they filled it up with the hose and they put the cap on and they sold more water.
no, no, no. Yeah, we kept it bottled the whole time. I mean, I'm sure that the water is safe to drink. It's just, the different bacteria different stomachs in different regions that don't mix.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't
Do
say
you
their
know
water was bad, but it just wasn't.
do you know how I avoided always getting sick, of going to, tropical countries, of not drinking the water? You just drink beer.
Yeah.
You just get up and by the afternoon, you start drinking beer and you just sip on beer.
You just fast for the first few hours of the day.
Yeah. My Irish relatives did that 1,000 years ago. They just drank ale and they lived.
Yeah, and they lived to be 35.
Well, it was a rough, it's kind of rough around the Viking time.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So you guys, so you're into you went from Tamarindo to
Corzalito. And our
Okay.
accommodation there was amazing.
Okay,
Our
good one.
favorite of the trip.
All right.
It was
On the
a
beach?
pretty new. No, it was 10 minutes from the beach.
Okay.
But we had a view of the water,
Right.
and it was a new building, only a few years old probably. It was super clean. It was sealed. It had a great air conditioner.
Okay.
We did see one little scorpion in our bathroom though, but it was like a baby scorpion, like
Ooh,
tiny.
those can bite hard.
And so I promptly squashed that little guy.
You got rid of him?
I
All right.
got rid of him. And other than that, it was amazing. We had an infinity pool that we
Cool.
shared. We were in a 4-unit type of thing. And our other neighbors, like 2 of them were from France and one was, I think, from the surrounding area vacationing there. But
Okay.
just
Was anybody else swimming in
absolutely.
the pool?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We wouldn't really be swimming all together. Like one person would go and we'd kind of wait and then we'd go in and whatnot. Yeah, but it was absolutely gorgeous and I could not recommend the little tiny town of Corzalito more.
Corzalito. All right.
Yeah. And the beach there felt like we were on a deserted island.
There was no one there.
Hardly anyone there. It was a really long beach, so you could
Okay.
drive all the way to the end and feel like you were all by yourself.
So yeah, for 10 minutes away, that was 10 minutes by car. You were away from the
yeah,
beach.
dirt road, 4x4 necessary, and felt like you're on a deserted island. There's palm trees everywhere with fresh coconuts falling off.
Okay.
So we go looking for coconuts. Our friend Erin just rips it open with her hands, bangs it on a rock a few times, rips it open. We're eating fresh coconut, drinking coconut water. It was my personal highlight of the trip.
Yeah, neat.
Was that beach day.
Any bars along that beach?
No, nothing there.
Just nothing on the
nothing.
No bathroom, no restaurant, just a beach.
Just a beach.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Just trees and a little place to park your car, and probably the most beautiful beach I've ever been to in my life. It was amazing.
And how was the water?
Water was good. Waves were a little bigger.
Okay, so you
and it was a little more rocky to get out to the water. You could not walk on the sand without burning your feet.
Oh, the sand was
The
that hot.
sand was so hot. I mean, I've been places where you can run on the sand and make it. It's hot.
Yeah.
You couldn't run. Your feet. Alec tried it.
Yeah.
Alec tried to walk it. The fear in his eyes, running back to the shade.
Yeah.
It was the hottest sand ever. So.
Did you put your water shoes on?
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah, we'd wear our flip-flops down in the water and then get in the water. But yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
But I feel like at that beach, that was really where, I feel like I kind of set some intentions for the year. I kind of gave myself um, some recognition of me and Vanessa just completed running our first ultra marathon, which really didn't feel real.
Okay.
We've been
You had a
training
little
for that
heart
for
to heart
so
with
long.
yourself there and said,
Yeah, it didn't feel real. Really, at that beach, I'm like, man, life's good. I love my life. And so when you have that moment, oh, I feel pretty recharged. I think I'm ready to go home now. But we still had like four more days after that.
Okay.
And those days after that, probably our hardest drive to date was out of Corzalito back up to Liberia.
yeah, that's a long one.
The roads were just brutal that day. The car sickness really was hitting a few of us.
Okay.
And it was so hot. But
Did you ever have times where you were on a little road and a bus would come and then you had to like stop so the bus could get by you?
yeah, a few
Yeah.
times.
Alright.
We always like stayed ahead of our gas. Like we made sure that our tires were filled. Like
Yeah.
we tried to be on it, but it's just an adventure. It was so fun. Every
Was.
day was like, what's gonna happen today? We don't know.
2-week adventure.
Yeah, we were eating a lot of rice and beans, so the tummy was starting to get a little tired of.
How would you
rice
buy
and
the
beans.
rice? Just dry rice
Yeah, dry rice
and dry beans?
Yeah, because every Airbnb we stayed at had a couple pots and pans and usually a rice cooker.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what would you flavor the beans with?
Nothing. They would come how they were. They were delicious. They're some of the best beans I've ever had.
But they were dry beans.
No, refried, like in a bag.
Oh, in a bag,
Yeah, like a
okay,
bag of refried beans. You
gotcha.
tear the top off and dump them in the pot.
All right, gotcha. So
Yeah.
not dry beans where you had to stew them up and do all
No.
that.
Yeah, like ready
Okay.
to go. Just heat them up. And we'd get little tortillas or just make a little rice and bean bowl with a little fruit. And
Rice and beans
we
and
were
fruit.
we were just vibing the whole time.
Did you ever pick any fruit yourself? Did you find like bananas and go grab some bananas?
No, because we didn't know, we didn't want to. We weren't really out in the wild to pick, like,
Yeah.
every time we saw that stuff, it was like at someone's house. I feel
Okay.
like,
Besides coconuts at the beach.
yeah, coconuts. We had a lot of coconuts, and then we were like, oh shoot, like if you have too much, like it can hurt your stomach. So we were like, okay, that's enough coconut.
Okay, what about mangoes or papayas or any stuff like that?
No,
All the
but we had
tropicals?
some really good smoothies, like fresh smoothies. We found a couple places, and the fruit that they used, like mango smoothies, was so good.
Yeah. Do the tropical fruits there.
Yeah. And then after Playa Corzalito, yeah, we had a long and car-sick-full drive up to
Back to
Liberia.
Liberia. Okay.
So this is our fifth and final spot we were staying, and we were staying on a farm just south out of Liberia. And it was a farm. We were staying in a converted barn.
You were in the barn.
We were in the barn. So what's in the barn?
Lots of critters.
Spiders.
Oh yeah.
This was, so I'm mentally, I'm already like, man, I'm so recharged. I'm ready to get back home, ready to get my routine. And we still a couple days left at this spider infested barn. So,
Any bites?
no spider
Okay,
bites.
that's good.
But so we check into this place. Me and Ness take one room, Aaron and Alec take the other room. And as we had learned to do with all of our previous Airbnbs, was as soon as we check in somewhere, usually, it had been cleaned prior, and when it's clean, the doors and windows are open and whatnot. Critters can get in. So when
Yeah.
we check in, we go sweep the house.
Shut everything up.
So we shut everything up. We kind of look around, at least by the bed.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of would pull the bed out to make sure there's
Pull the
no.
sheets, make sure there's not a snake in the bottom.
Ugh,
There's a snake in your boot.
yeah, just to make sure there's no lurking critters.
When you put on your shoes in the morning, would you check your shoes?
Yes,
Yeah, that's good
absolutely.
because critters love shoes.
Absolutely. That was very
That's
important
killed a
to do.
lot of miners to that term. There's a snake in my boot.
Really?
Oh yeah, because rattlesnakes would go crawl onto boots. They'd get down there, and a miner would, put his boot on, get him in the toe.
Oh,
One less miner.
yeah. So we would be sure to check our shoes. But
Good.
yeah, we're doing our sweep. And me and Ness are chilling. We would like literally set a deep perimeter around our bed. Like,
Start spraying.
how healthy that is for you, I don't know. And,
I won't kill you in 14
we
days.
probably gave ourselves some deep poisoning through the process of this trip, but we had set our perimeter. We were chilling, and all of a sudden we hear Alec, Aaron, like concern in the voice. We're like, oh no, damn,
What do you find?
what is it? And we go in, and he had pulled the bed out from the side of the wall.
Okay.
And I kid you not, there's 4 massive spiders, like massive, like
4 spiders.
bodies big, like a silver dollar,
Okay.
the
Big
size
spider.
of their body, and fast. He pulled them out, and like they would take off. And so one of them had jumped up onto the bed. So Aaron's stuff was all on the bed, but we're all crowded around, like trying to look. So one's on the bed. There's one on the ground. 2 are already dead. Like,
he killed 2 of them that fast?
no, the spiders had killed the other spiders or
Holy
something.
crap!
Like
they had a spider war going on.
they weren't smashed, so someone didn't smash them, but they were dead.
Yeah.
But their bodies were still huge, just laying there like spider carcasses. So, I mean, I don't know what goes on in the spider world, but we were like, oh my God.
So did you kill the one on the bed and the other
So
one?
the ones on the bed, we're freaking out. Me, I'm just like, all right,
We got
sooner the better.
killing
Sooner the better.
spiders.
Give me the flip flop. Give me the chancla. So I get the flip flop, and I kill the one. But right before I kill it, we're trying to pull the sheet up, and when I'm telling you this spider moved fast, it darted like 2 feet in a blink of an eye. Like I was like,
Fast spiders.
that was the scariest part of it. Is these things if it comes at me, I'm not getting out of the way.
Yeah.
It's gonna come at me. So, oh my God, that was just, yeah. So I managed to kill it. The other one takes off, so it's kind of in the more difficult place. I end up able to kill that one too. But
Nice.
now Aaron and I are like, there's no way we're sleeping in this room.
Yeah.
There's more where that came from.
Yeah.
And there were. We had killed a couple more through the next couple of days near and in that room. So that night, the room that Ness and I took had originally taken had a Cal King. Like, I think it was even bigger than a Cal King. It was like a ridiculously big bed. Like, it
Okay.
was huge. So we're all sleeping together tonight.
Okay.
And
So they
we
abandoned
all
their room, and you went. And your room had didn't have as many critters.
No, I did a full sweep on that thing because it was
Yeah.
sealed. The room that they were in was kind of in the back of the barn and shared a wall with the barn that was still intact.
That's where they're coming from.
Right. So
Yeah.
we were in the front, away from the literal barn,
Yeah.
and sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And
Yeah.
all four of us slept in that bed that night, which we were cackling with laughter
Yeah.
up until we all
You're
barely
like
fell
sixth
asleep.
grade science camp right there.
We had a terrible
Killing
night's sleep.
spiders.
Terrible night's sleep, but really funny memories. Like, we were just giggling like school kids in our
So
bed all
the
night.
next night when you slept in that bed, all four of you, did you guys sleep better?
Well, so there was another bedroom upstairs that also had a lot of bugs in it, but they got such a terrible night's sleep that they're like, all right, we're gonna try this next room. So they
Okay.
went up the following 2 nights into the other room and survived.
Okay.
Happy to report.
No spider bites.
No spider bites, but
All right.
man, I've never in my life, I mean, Mima always taught me growing up, what do we do to bugs? We squish them. Like, I was never really afraid of bugs
Just squish them.
here, but those bugs they got down there are gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just normal for them.
All right. So you wrapped up the trip on the farm and
And we did a couple
headed
horseback.
back?
We had a horseback ride at the farm. It was
Okay.
included with our stay
Okay.
because they were like, oh yeah, you just go out on our morning rounds with us.
Yeah. But
And
what'd you end up
so-
doing?
Well, we went out on our horseback ride, and they were like, we gotta get those cows into the other pastures. So now, usually if you go on a ride, it's just a trail ride. You're just sauntering along. You barely
Yeah.
get to trot and do anything fun. We got to move a giant herd of cows from one pasture to another.
You were working.
It was probably the highlight of the trip. Like, the beach was cool, the river rafting. This was such a unique experience
Good.
on a working Costa Rican farm with real farm horses.
Yeah.
You know,
You come from a line of some ranchers,
I
so you
felt
have it in your
very-
blood.
I felt very in touch with my ancestors.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
On horseback, one squirts off to the side. I tear
Really?
after it. Yeah.
And you shoot it in?
Yeah, and I
Come
kind
here,
of just
doggy.
around. You just ride behind them or around them, and the cows were so cute. They were running along like
And
they
then the
were.
horses knew what you were doing.
Yeah, horses. They do this every day.
Yeah.
We were just doing the morning round. We went around the perimeter of the property. This farm we stayed on was 130 acres.
Yeah.
So we didn't do the whole thing, obviously, but we went around, checked the fences. We came across a bird who had got stuck in the fence, like a big old bird.
Ooh.
And the guy went over and clipped the wire and got the bird out and let it free. It was
Really?
cool. Yeah, he showed it to me. It had a big old gash on it. But he's like, he'll be fine.
He'll survive.
And just was Costa Rica farming.
Neat. Well, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
something that probably a lot of people that go, a lot of tourists
Yeah.
don't get to see that.
Yeah, we walked through a river. Vanessa's horse was so short that her legs dragged through the water.
Ha!
They gave her a little horse.
They gave Vanessa the little horse.
Yeah, my horse was big and she wanted to run. So a couple times I let her go, but like
Yeah.
I had to keep a handle on her. Yeah, especially when we were with the cows, like she just started tearing after the cows.
Yeah. And tell me about the saddles. You were saying they didn't have a horn like Western saddles in the United States, where
Yeah.
I remember horseback riding as a kid. And shit, I'd have two hands on the horn, just holding on for dear life. So
Yeah.
without that horn, it's a little, you got to hold on with your legs.
Yeah, definitely. And it wasn't quite an English saddle because it was big. It was
Mhm.
like a Western size of a
With
saddle.
the horn.
No horn. And, if she started going, I was just holding the reins. Like I wasn't, I
Yeah.
was just gripping. And he kind of had a little lip that you could hold on to, but
It's Costa Rican saddle.
yeah, no, it was cool. That was really, really cool. I really enjoyed that. So that was kind of the end of our trip. Then the next day, our last day there, we did kind of this eco adventure park type of thing where you show up, and this was really touristy. They just kind of parade you through each thing. So like it was zip lining, then it was a horseback ride, then it was a cultural tour thing where they show you pottery and coffee making, and then it was like buffet lunch, and then waterfall, hot spring. Like it just was one thing after another. And we had already done
all the
all of
things
those
for
things
real.
Over the course of all the time we've been there. So it's just like a little microcosm of this and that.
Yeah.
But it was a good time. The hot springs were beautiful. We got absolutely destroyed by bugs. This was the day before we left, and we got so chomped up at the hot springs. It was like the one day we forgot to bring our DEET.
Oh no.
And I got like 15 bites. Just, it was terrible. But of course, Costa Rica sent you home with a little souvenir.
Yeah, got some bites.
And and then we flew out the next day. That was 2 weeks in Costa Rica.
2 weeks. You were one of the 3 million tourists that visit Costa Rica on the average year.
Yeah.
Of that 3 million tourists, 3 million tourists for a country of 5 million, that's a lot of people running through that.
Yeah.
And over 1 million of those come from the United States.
Well,
so 1 million Americans a year going to Costa Rica.
I can see why people go there. Like the people there are so nice. The Costa Rican people have the best hospitality of any country I've ever been to.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime we had a problem or a question, basically just with our rental car.
Yeah.
What do you need? Of course I'll help you for free. No, and no one would badger you for tips. No one would really like.
No one's begging you every time you step around the corner.
Yeah, like it was just like, like everyone just was doing it just to be nice.
Yeah. Well, the standard of living in Costa Rica is higher than anywhere else in Central America or Mexico. So because of the tourism, because of those 3 million tourists going there a year, 1 million people bring in American dollars, and they're very active agriculture and a lot of American businesses. There's a number
good relationship between the countries.
Yeah, there's a number of American pharmaceuticals there, and some pretty large agro businesses that really pump some dollars through. And I mean, their GNP is like 161 billion. So like their average, per capita GNP, their GNP was 141 billion. So that's really good compared with 5 million people doing 141 billion.
Yeah.
So their per capita GNP was like $26,000 for each person. So it's really high compared to if you take Guatemala's
per population size
with their population of 5 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're about the same size as Ireland.
Yeah.
Ireland's got about 5 million.
Well, they're pretty much known for their nature and their variety of species. I mean, and also what was really cool, our last day at the eco park, we saw toucans.
Oh, toucans.
Yeah, so the only animals you didn't see were sloths and snakes, which I'm glad I didn't see any snakes.
It would be nice to see a little tree sloth.
It would have been cool to see a sloth, but we saw toucans.
You know where we have sloths? Right here in San Diego.
Yeah, at San Diego Zoo.
San Diego Zoo, lots of sloths.
I want to see them in the wild.
So 3 million tourists a year, that is their bumper crop. Having tourists come down there.
Yeah.
Going ziplining. You pumped a lot of money into their economy. And because that, so
we didn't spend much. We went on the cheap, and you can do that in Costa Rica. Like you can really go there and not spend a lot of money and have a really good time. Like you can spend a lot of days there, get a rental car, meet the people, go to the small towns, and man, it was just such a wonderful trip. I loved Costa Rica.
Yeah. A couple other quick things I just want to touch on is because a lot of people talk about this. So Costa Rica does not have a standing military. It's one of the only sovereign nations that doesn't have a standing military. And they got rid of their military in 1949. They disbanded their entire military in 1949 after they had a civil war. They had a civil war that lasted 44 days in 1948 and killed about 2,000 Costa Ricans. And it was due to a bad election, and the underdog party that was kind of not the ruling class. It was a lower class party, overthrew the dominant party, and that's been in power ever since. And it's been peaceful. They have a large national police force, but they have no military force.
They have a universal health care there?
They have universal health care, and they also have education where like up through college paid for. So
They're doing
they're
something
doing,
right.
yeah, they're doing good.
Costa Rica knows what's up.
And I want to bring that up because you know, I'm a patriot of this country, and I love our form of government, a representative republic. I feel like sometimes in our society today, people aren't thinking back to. That's why we do so much about history and how this country has evolved. But Costa Rica is one of the only steady democracies of that region that's just stayed steady since 1949. So, I mean, that's 75 years that they have been a sovereign nation of a democracy,
No wars.
and they're doing great. And if something, you know, if someone were to invade them, we do have their back. We have a policy, we have a treaty with them, but
They're not
it's not.
causing any problems. They are
And look where
just,
they are. They're right next to
yeah.
Panama, which is a major trafficking place for Colombia and Venezuela, and Peru's had problems, in Nicaragua. Nicaragua's been in a civil war since my grandfather, your great grandfather, fought the Sandinistas there in 1927 and 1928.
Yeah, so they've remained very stable, and it's because of that Pura Vida.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, um, if you take your democracy and you don't forget about it, and you remember it, and everybody appreciates it, it can keep going.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap that up. This episode, Costa Rica.
This episode was all over the place. I
yeah,
apologize. I feel like we had some little breaks here. We had a studio audience, then we kicked them out.
It was fun. It was fun.
I had a wonderful time in Costa Rica. If you can swing it and get down there and you're into adventure and wildlife, beautiful
And
beaches, wonderful people.
what about my Tommy Bahama? That is of the islands, right? This is a tropical Tommy Bahama.
Mm-hmm.
We're not shouting out to Tommy Bahama anymore because they haven't sent us any shirts. We will always shout out to Sierra Nevada. And we're going to shout out to Tunnel to Towers, our favorite veterans charity. Just recently, we had 3 service members killed overseas, and as well as 2 Navy SEALs from San Diego here. So we're going to give a shout out to Tunnels to Towers because that's the organization that will probably buy their surviving spouses a house.
Yep.
All right. Take care.
Hope you enjoyed. This one was all over the place.
Happy hour's done.
Hope you enjoyed. See you later.